Thanks for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and check out my Instagram for cool science and not science stuff. And a big thank you to my patrons on Patreon for your contributions to my channel.
Welcome back to Catalyst University. My name is Kevin Tokoff. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for future videos and notifications. In this video, we're going to be talking about a different kind of E-stim technique called high voltage pulsed current, or we're going to abbreviate it HVPC. Now, high voltage pulse current really has two major applications. The first is in tissue healing. So this is actually within the realm of wound care. And the second is getting rid of significant edema. Let's first talk about tissue healing. Now, important note, we are never just going to take a wound and just automatically hook it up to high voltage pulse current. And there's several reasons for this. We have to do some thinking before we ever use this E-stim technique. The first thing we have to consider is, will insurance even cover this technique? That's always something we have to think about. So high voltage pulse current is sort of like a last resort. Okay? If you have a wound, regardless of which phase of healing it's in, you want to first try conservative wound care. So with conservative care of wounds, you've got, of course, your debridement techniques. You've got irrigation, you've got suction techniques, if that's applicable. You've got your wound dressings, all that stuff, even compression, right? And so most insurance companies will not cover high voltage pulse current right off the bat. You have to demonstrate, first of all, sometimes 1 month or 30 days of conservative care, and that conservative care did not work before you can even consider high voltage pulse current. And different insurances will be different, okay? But you generally have to try conservative care first, and it has to not work. And then you can consider high voltage pulse current. And let's suppose you are going to hook this up to a patient's wound, all right? Well, you have to determine what phase of healing the wound's in. So here, in this flowchart, is the wound in the inflammatory phase, or is it infected? Okay, that's one consideration. Or is it more advanced in the healing? Maybe it's in the proliferative phase and it's clean, meaning it's not infected. The reason we have to know this is because depending on the phase of healing, that will actually dictate which electrode goes on the wound. That's important. And the third thing, if we are going to use high voltage pulse current, we have to prepare the wound to put the electrode on it, right? So the first thing is to debride the wound, so to get rid of slough, non-viable necrotic tissue, and so forth. We need to remove any petroleum-based products because those are actually going to act as insulators, and then the high voltage pulse current will not function. And then we also have to cleanse the wound, make sure it's clean before we apply the electrode. Okay? And I'll actually show you a short animation of how that actually works in a few minutes. Okay? So let's suppose I have a wound on the knee right here, on the lateral side of the knee, and it's in the inflammatory phase, or maybe it's even infected. In this case, I can put the negative electrode directly over that injury. Okay? Now, technically, there's going to be some gauze in between there, and I'll actually show you how that works, like I said, in just a minute. But this electrode actually can go right over the injury. And then the positive electrode here is going to go proximal. Key is proximal to this electrode. Okay? And this is probably going to be about the level of the hip near the greater trochanter. Now, you'll notice a few things about this setup. One, if we look at the negative electrode, which is where the wound is, it's elevated. Okay, we have the thigh elevated. This actually puts the wound, first of all, above the level of the heart, which is important because that's going to help drain fluid back to the heart through gravity. But also, this is above the level of where the positive electrode is, so also helping it flow back due to gravity. The reason we put the negative electrode on the wound here is when we have inflammation, there's excessive fluid or edema here at the site of the wound. And the fluid that's in edema is negatively charged, mainly due to the presence of plasma proteins. Most plasma proteins are negatively charged, and they're found in the edema. So by applying this voltage right here with a negative electrode here and a positive electrode proximally, the negative fluid is going to be repelled from that site, and it's going to move toward the opposite charge, towards the positive charge, which is also taking it in the direction of the heart. Remember, if we have edema or any kind of excess fluid, we want to return it to the heart, and so that's why you have this directionality here. If we have a wound that's in the proliferative phase and it's clean, meaning it's not infected, the electrode placement is the opposite. So here, Here's our wound in the same spot, but it's now proliferative. Now we put the positive electrode on that site, and then the negative electrode is going to go proximally. Technically, with a proliferative phase wound, you could put this negative electrode distally, you could put it proximally, but I would say that unless it's contraindicated for whatever reason, like some other problem up top, it's best to keep it proximal because that was going to keep it consistent with everything else that we're going to see here. Okay, so always put the other electrode proximal. Makes it easier to remember. And then when you apply this voltage right here and having that positive electrode on the site of the wound, this is thought to actually stimulate angiogenesis, fibroblast activity, and improve circulation of blood to that area because the blood is also going to bring helpful nutrients that this wound needs to further heal. Now technically, with a proliferative phase wound like this, you don't actually have to have the leg elevated, okay, or whatever the body part is. It could just be laying flat on the table because our goal is not draining fluid in this case, okay? So you could actually have it flat unless there was some clinical reason to not do that, okay? The other thing that happens here is because blood also has plasma proteins, of course, and that is negatively charged overall, this positive charge here helps to attract that blood here, and that's part of the mechanism by which we get that improved circulation to the site of the wound. Now, am I putting these electrodes directly on the wound bed? No. So to understand how that works, here's some skin right here. Here's the wound, and here's the wound bed right there. Okay. And remember, we have to debride the wound first, remove petroleum-based products, and then cleanse the wound, right? And then we're going to take some gauze. And we're going to wet that gauze, probably with a sterile saline or something like that. We're going to wet the gauze, and once the gauze is wet, we're just going to basically pack it into the wound, enough to cover the wound bed. Okay? This does one thing, it protects the wound bed from the surface of the electrode, right? But the irrigation of the gauze to make it wet actually helps keep that wound moist as we're doing the treatment. And then once the gauze is on there, we can put the electrodes on. So if it's the negative electrode, right, that would actually be if we're doing this for an inflamed wound, right? And then if this is a positive electrode, this would be for a proliferative wound. So hopefully that makes sense. Now for these two examples right here, we had a wound on the side of the knee. But if the wound was, let's say, at the ankle, like you see right here, then you actually want to make sure that the ankle is elevated. So in these pictures right here, the ankle really isn't elevated relative to the knee. It's kind of at the same level, right? So if your wound was at the ankle, you'd want to make sure that, number one, the ankle is above the level of the heart, which it is right here, okay? But the ankle is also above the levels proximal to it, so both the knee and the hip, as you see. So in particular for an inflammatory wound, or if we have edema, which we'll see in a minute, you want that distal electrode to be raised above the proximal regions and the heart. So hopefully that makes sense. Now the nice thing here is that regardless of whether you have an inflamed or a proliferative wound, the settings that you set the machine to are the same. So the frequency is going to be 100 Hertz, the pulse duration is about 100 microseconds, and the treatment duration is actually going to be all the way from 45 to 60 minutes. Now this is one of the reasons why high voltage pulse current is kind of a last resort, and you want to make sure you try conservative care first. Because if you have a physical therapy session where somebody has wound care, and then maybe you also want to get them to do some TheraX, right? This pretty much takes up the entire session. So this is why you want to make sure you have the right candidate for this first. And you want to try conservative care, and if that fails, then this becomes an option. But it will take up the vast majority or all of a therapy session. And then this can be done anywhere from 3 to 7 days per week. And when you are receiving this treatment, you should feel a comfortable tingling. That's what the patient should feel. The other application of high voltage pulse current is for significant localized edema. And the key word there is localized. You cannot use high voltage pulse current when there is systemic edema. So why might you have systemic edema? Well, if you have heart failure, liver failure, or kidney failure, those are three of the big types of organ failures that would lead to systemic swelling and edema. You would not use this for that. This has to be a localized edema. And so what you might see, for example, here in the patient's right knee, here's some significant swelling. I mean, you don't even need to take a measurement here. You can see that there's a lot of swelling there relative to the left knee. Now in this patient right here, I don't see any indications that there was a surgery on that right knee, but whenever there are procedures on the right knee, like a total knee arthroplasty or an ACL repair surgery, swelling is going to be fairly common. Now generally, with things like therapeutic exercise, moving through range of motion, and other things like vasopneumatic therapy, you can actually get that swelling to go away pretty easily. But again, the right candidate. There might be some cases where for whatever reason you can't get that swelling to go away. It just stays there for whatever reason. Why would you want to get that swelling to go away? Well, number one, it's going to impede range of motion. So following those kind of procedures like total knee arthroplasties, ACL repairs, you want to make sure you get back range of motion ASAP, because the longer you go without regaining full range of motion in both flexion and extension, the less likely you are to be able to regain it as you go throughout rehab. The other reasons you'll want to get rid of the swelling is because there's muscle inhibition, particularly of the quadriceps. So when you have this swelling right here, all the quadriceps, in particular the vastus medialis obliquus, the VMO, become inhibited. Also because you can't get full extension here, and the VMO becomes maximally active in full or near full extension of the knee, and that's where you can really strengthen this muscle. So bottom line, you want to get rid of the edema, but if this does not respond to conventional care, then you may consider this high voltage pulse current. Now, the electrode placement here is actually very similar to what we saw over here for inflammation. So let's suppose the knee right here is the site of the edema. So I'm going to put the negative electrode on that site. Why the negative electrode? Well, again, for the same reason as before, the edema, that fluid, is negatively charged. It has plasma proteins. We're trying to get rid of the edema from that area. So if we put a positive electrode proximal to that, probably up by the hip, right, near the greater trochanter, then that negative fluid is going to be repelled by the negative electrode and move towards the positive electrode. So again, it's being cleared from the knee and taken in the direction back to the heart. Now this is another case where we'd want that lower extremity elevated. So if we have it at the knee, we'd want the knee elevated above the heart and elevated above the level of the proximal electrode. So not only will the fluid move by charge, it'll also move by gravity. Also, if the wound was at the ankle, we'd want the ankle elevated, right, above the level of the knee and above the level of the hip. Now, for edema, as we said, we put the negative electrode distally on the edematous site. Sometimes you might even put that negative electrode a little bit distal to where the edema is, but it can be right on the site of the edema as long as it's covering it. And the settings for edema control would be a frequency of 120 Hertz. Notice that frequency is a little bit higher than we see for wound care. And then the pulse duration is actually usually going to be lower, about 40 to 100 microseconds. You might start on the lower end, maybe around 40 or 50, and then crank that up as necessary. The treatment for this is still pretty long. It's not as long as we see for wound care, but the duration of a treatment is going to be about 20 to 30 minutes. So again, if you're doing this as part of a physical therapy session, that's going to take up about half of your session. And so again, this is why you want to try conservative care, other techniques to help get that fluid back up. And those could, again, be vasopneumatic devices. You could use compression. If the patient can just do simple muscle contractions and range of motion to get it back. Normally that fluid's going to have a pretty easy time getting back for most people, but if it doesn't, then you use this as a last resort. And this treatment is more intense than what we saw for wound care. So for wound care, we wanted comfortable tingling. For edema control, we want a little bit more tingling, and actually tingling that gives us something just short of muscle contraction. So hopefully this video gave you a good understanding of high voltage pulse current, when to use it, and how to use it. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for future videos and notifications. Thank you.